Good evening. The Portland Board of Education will begin tonight by holding a public hearing. First, we're going to hear from Superintendent Botana for a 10-minute PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll open it up to comments and questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. So what I wanted to do tonight, just before we start with the public hearing, is just spend a couple minutes recapping the comprehensive plan. The presentation is similar to what you saw at the last board meeting, so really the goal is for everyone to have the same information as you hear public testimony today. And obviously I'm very grateful to everyone that's come out for the public hearing. Most of the folks that I've seen in the audience are people that have been very involved in the development process, and so I appreciate all of the work that they've done up until now, and obviously look forward to their comments today. What I'm going to do is do a brief update on the planning process, talk about the goals that we are asking the board to endorse, and then spend a little bit of time on the metrics and strategies for the plan. So this is the process update. As you know, we started back in July with a lot of inputs, conversations with lots of stakeholders, reading through many of the documents that were foundational to the original comprehensive plan, and just beginning dialogue with different groups. And through September and through November, we really worked on drafting the plan, working with multiple stakeholders, primarily at the school level, in coming up with our goals and then shaping the strategies and metrics that will be the basis for what we intend to do. And now we're at the level where we're asking for formal endorsement, so this becomes the direction of the school system, and obviously very important level of communication and ongoing sort of implementation of the plan. So these are some of the stakeholder groups and where we are in that process. So everything that you see in yellow, gold is what we've already done, and then where we currently are in that process of engaging those various stakeholders. So we're sort of done fine-tuning with staff, and we're now looking to have the board endorse the goals and then move forward with the rollout and communication to various stakeholders. The goals, as you know, we have 4, and sort of the high-level labels are achievement, whole student, equity, and people. And our achievement goal is that all of our students will be prepared for college and career and empowered to pursue a productive post-secondary path. And again, as you know, we underline prepared and empowered because we want to signal very clearly that we're not saying that every child is going to go to college. We're saying that every child needs to be prepared to go to college and be empowered, and empowered signals that they will make that decision based on good information, based on guidance, based on understanding what's best for them at that point in their life. The second goal is our whole student goal, and that says that all of our students will develop the skills, habits, and mindsets that they need to engage in and contribute to our diverse city and ever-changing world. And again, this is about making sure that we recognize that in schools we do a lot of teaching about math and science and social studies and other important things, but we also spend a lot of time and a lot of energy on developing those other traits that are an important part of being successful in life. So being prepared for school, but all the skills, habits, and mindsets that go with that. And then the third goal is around equity, and it's essentially saying that as a school system, we recognize that our results are uneven, that we do a great job with many of our students, and that for some of our students who don't have the same levels of opportunities, there is a significant amount of work that we need to do as a system. And so the goal says that we must be vigilant in supporting each and every student's particular path to achieving high standards, and then that we also need to be vigilant about looking for and rooting out whatever stands in our way. So we've described that as systemic and ongoing inequities. So that's the work that goes with our equity goal. And the last one in our people goal, and that basically says that to be able to do all of this, we need to build on the most talented and diverse group of people that we're able to attract, support, and retain. And so that's exactly what the goal reads. So those are the goals, and that's the sort of foundational piece of the comprehensive plan. This is what, going forward, we would look to sort of use as our filter for everything that we do. It's the stuff that we would report on publicly. It's the stuff that I would be accountable for to the board as we move forward. So just a little bit on the different metrics and strategies, how we'll measure it, and what we'll do. And so let me just get those all up there. So the measures of how we'll know that we're making progress on the achievement goal, we've really laid it out in a sort of a progression through the grades. So there are readiness measures, there's elementary measures, middle school, and high school. And so this will become, in essence, our scorecard for the achievement going forward. And so there's a variety of measures. I'm not going to go into great detail, but those are things that, again, we have spent considerable amount of time working with stakeholders to figure out what would be relevant, what is stuff that is actually meaningful in the research literature, and that we have the ability to measure and would tell us how we're doing. And the things that we've said that we'll do, and if you recall, I took out the slide in an effort to sort of make this shorter, but the goals are fairly static. The measures, the metrics are also fairly static, although we have to adjust them as we move forward, making sure that there's still that we have the ability to produce that data, and then what we'll do is more. That's stuff that we could theoretically change as we move forward, as we achieve our milestones, and also as we realize that those were not the right strategies. I'm confident that these are the right strategies, but I also know that over time we should always be looking at those as something that needs to be adjusted. And so making sure that our curriculum across the board is aligned to standards, and that the work that we're asking kids to do is the work that helps to get them there. And developing a system-wide intervention strategy. So making sure that kids have the time that they need and the supports that they need to learn what we want them to learn. And then as for us to be able to do this, we really need to improve our access to and our use of student data. And so really having a clear understanding of how to use our data, and providing strong professional development and routines and tools for people to use is a big part of what we think will make us successful here. The whole student is very sort of dependent on surveys, and as a district, we've done a lot of work with student and family surveys, and so it's really figuring out, are we asking the right questions, and, looking at movement in those areas. And then the things that we've said we would do is across the board have a common understanding about what we want our outcomes to be in social emotional learning, and ensuring that every school has a plan for getting us there. And then we also want to make sure that all of our kids are connected in a meaningful way to a caring adult, whether that's a teacher, a counselor, a social worker, or somebody in their universe that is focused on making sure that the kid is connected to school, and then building individualized success plans for each of our students. So those are the things that we will do as we move forward in operationalizing the plan. Our equity goals, the measures are really the same things that you see in achievement and some of the things that you see in whole student, but really looking to reduce the gaps that we see now when we look at those data across different student subgroups. And the other thing is we want to improve the proportional representation of students across programs. Right now, as we've talked about before, we see overrepresentation in some things like special education for some of our students, and then we see underrepresentation in things like talented and gifted programs. And so those are things that we would track and be able to report on over time. And then the things that we've said we would do here are strengthen our family partnerships, ensure that every student has the time that they need to master academic content, and that all students have the opportunities for enrichment. So that's really saying that as a district we need to engage broadly with within the district and outside the district to make sure that those opportunities for enrichment that lots of our students have through their own social capital, their families, and their immediate network, that's something that lots of our kids don't have, and that we need to be very intentional about figuring out how to make those opportunities available for kids that have talent and passion in different areas. And obviously review our current policies and practices to make sure that where we have unintended barriers, that we remove those barriers. And one specific strategy that is important to get us started is this idea of a equity audit of the system to be able to identify those policies and practices, identify those opportunities for improvement, so that we basically get a blueprint for moving forward in this area. And then the last goal is the people goal, and here we are still working on exactly what we would use. We don't currently have those tools in place, but Barb Stoddard has a tremendous amount of focus and energy around this issue, and is working to help us identify what those specific surveys or measures would be, and but they will be on things like employee engagement and obviously an increase in our staff diversity. And then in terms of what we'll do is a comprehensive professional development system around really critical things for all of us to have, and it's the ability to use data, which I've talked about before, have shared SEL outcomes, but also work with our system, with all of our people, on becoming culturally responsive and understanding trauma-informed practices. So those are specific things that we will operationalize going forward. We have data systems around are people that are not as well developed as they need to be. So we will work to implement better ways of recruiting people, better ways of tracking people's experience in the system, and that's sort of what the data systems is about. We are starting, again, there's a tremendous amount of energy already in the system and lots of people who are supporting us on our diversity recruitment strategy, which is everything from recruiting, people that are currently in the profession in other places, but it's also in growing our own, from high school to adult ed, really being able to increase the diversity of our staff. Articulating our core values, sort of saying what it is that we stand for as an organization is an important part of being able to help people understand what they're buying into and remaining bought into it, and then building career pathways that motivate people to stay in the system and see that their future, whether it's they want to grow or they want to be really, really good at what they're currently doing, that we have a system in place that lets people articulate that pathway and helps them to achieve it. So that's it. So next steps, I didn't change this slide. It's the public hearing that you're in right now. And then we'll have a second reading on January 3rd and hopefully endorsement by the board. And then we'll proceed with operationalizing it, including communication and so on. So thank you.
And now we'll open it up for public comment. Any person wishing to address the board may approach the podium. You'll have 3 minutes, and please state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Ron Kantor. I reside at 72 Fort Road in South Portland, and I'm pleased to be the president of Southern Maine Community College. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you this evening and speak in favor of the strategic plan. As president of the local community college, we have a large number of students coming to us from the Portland City School District, and I love the line about preparing students to be college and career ready, because that's very much what we're doing at the college as well. Unfortunately, we have many students who come to the college who are not college or career ready. And over the past several years, we've deepened our connections and our partnership with the school district in order to work on that. This strategic plan, and I've seen several iterations of it as it's been developed, is exactly what's needed to strengthen the partnership that we have. And the partnership is impressive. About 3 years ago, with support of the school district, the college, and the John T. Gorman Foundation, and Portland Connect Ed, I see many members of Portland Connect Ed here this evening, we put together a program called the My Success Program, where we took students at risk from the Portland schools who were graduating from the high schools and coming to SMCC. We gave them some intensive support over the summer. We continued the support through their time at SMCC, and the results have been very, very impressive. I'll share just a few of the highlights, and keep in mind that this strategic plan couldn't be better for expanding on these initial successes and bringing these benefits to more students to serve Maine's workforce and to help students be more successful for both college and career. In this program so far, 64% of the students tested out of at least one developmental courses. Most students coming to us need to take remedial math or English or both. 64% of them had to take at least one fewer of those courses. 15% of them had to take no developmental courses after going through this program. And on average, the My Success students have a 93% fall-to-fall persistence rate, with the 2015 cohort achieving 100% persistence. That's compared to 79% persistence rate overall. The GPAs are increasing, the number of college credits earned by the students are increasing, and the suspension rate is dramatically lower. So in short, we support this strategic plan because it's going to increase and expand and build upon successes just like that. Thank you.
So there's two of us, so I assume we each get 3. I'm Kathy McKey. I'm one of the assistant principals at Portland High School. I'm also a PAA representative.
I'm Bev Corsi. I'm a principal at Ocean Avenue School, also a PAA rep, and I live on Westbrook Street here in Portland. So we wanted to talk a little bit about the process and how principals were involved and our staff was involved. And I just really appreciate right from the start, how open the process was. We started at our retreat this summer in August in talking about what could it look like, and there was a design already there, which is great to have feedback to. But immediately we said we need several rounds of it to go through with principals, to come to our staff, to come to our buildings, and all of that was embraced with open arms. And I just appreciate having so much input from everybody. So there's a really deep understanding of what this plan is about, in addition to being heard from the staff. So we had collaboration in if the goals were correct, what would be the process of what are the metrics of it? What would be underpinning that? And those they went through several times. And when even after the meetings, there was the chance to input right on the spreadsheet, which was it felt really collaborative and whole, and people felt really listened to. And my staff, particularly, and I know other people were saying the same thing. Staff felt really good about being included in the process.
Right. So I want to talk a little bit about the language of the plan, because for us, that's where the value is. And we heard from lots of different sources about how students weren't prepared. So we believe that the plan addresses the whole child, which is incredible that that is added. We talk about achievement. We talk about the people that surround the student, in which we know has to be a partnership with our parent and community engagement, and the equity issue. That is one thing that we're very cognizant of, as we have students who are coming in from all over the world, and we're in many different places, and looking, do they have equal access to programs? So at the high school level, we've often felt that it ends with us. We have to start them on this process to prepare them for college and prepare them for life. But what the plan language really talks about is the K-12. It is a partnership, parents are included, and it's a plan that is a working document. So it's very thoughtful. I believe that it also is based on a high value system that I know that Portland, the community, and I know you as representatives and supporting the educational system really feel strongly about. It takes all of us, it does take that village, as they say, but it takes all of us working together with the same lens. And the same continuum as the superintendent talked about, it's really important that curriculum is aligned, that we use our resources in ways. It can't be different, siloed, as we have in the past sometimes. It really has to be a conscious and deliberate effort, and we believe the plan takes that into account. The other important piece, I think, is the people. We have a very rich staff, and we provide a lot of resources, but at the same time, there's those challenges and barriers that get in the way of just sharing and working together as a more effective team. And I believe the plan also addresses that, so it's great to see that. And then the accountability. There's ways that we're going to address it. What are we going to be looking at? What lens are we going to see? And then what are we going to be held accountable for? And it's not just the superintendent, it's all of us, especially as leaders in the district. How do we garner resources, but at the same time it feels like it's stronger because we're all working together. Elementary's working together with middle to high, and we're all on the same page about that. And we're all looking with the same lens. So that's very important. And I also think, going back to the language in itself, and I believe strongly when we talk about kids, we talk about them in very respectful ways. And we see kids as individuals, but we also see the bigger picture. And to me, this is all encompassed, and I feel that the staff really feels that this is just a huge improvement, and really is a benchmark, has benchmarks, but it also has a vision. And I think I'm really excited to be part of it. So, do you want to add anything about that?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, and thank you very much for your support, and we're hoping we see an endorsement of the comprehensive plan. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Tony Cipollone. I reside at 46 Fairwind Lane in Yarmouth. I'm president and CEO of the John T. Gorman Foundation, We are a statewide foundation dedicated to improving the lives of disadvantaged folks in Maine, and we are headquartered here in Portland. Over the last 4 years in particular, we have made some significant Portland-focused investments aimed at advancing supports and opportunities to help children and adults succeed. These include over $850,000 in grants to the Portland Public Schools to support food access, ELL technology, third grade reading proficiency, summer learning, and professional development. We are also a core supporter of Portland Connect Ed, and I am pleased to say I am a member of the Connect Ed Steering Committee. We have made these investments and continue to make these investments of time and money because we believe, like you, that we all need to do whatever we can to help as a community to ensure that all kids and adults succeed. We need the Portland Public Schools to be as strong as they can possibly be, and we need to ensure that they do indeed provide all kids and youth the opportunities, the supports, and the social capital that they need to thrive and succeed in life. That said, like everyone here tonight, I believe that success is a derivative of thoughtful planning and strategic thinking, and that is why I am here to say how impressed I am and how impressed my Connect Ed colleagues are that we are supporting a plan that Superintendent Botana is presenting to the school board tonight. I was pleased to have the opportunity to be briefed on the plan on 2 different occasions when the superintendent briefed the Connect Ed Steering Committee. On both occasions, I was extremely impressed with the thoughtfulness of its content and the transparency of the process being used to solicit input and reaction. In particular, I am impressed with the plan's emphasis on data and measurable results, its consideration of the whole child, its recognition of families and communities as key partners, its explicit focus on equity, and its recognition that the nurturance and development of quality teachers and staff is a critical component of success. For all of these reasons, I am quite supportive of the superintendent's proposed direction. It is a direction that is resonant with our foundation's mission and the values and mission of Connect Ed. We hope to continue working with the school system and others in the Portland community in support of this plan if it is endorsed, and to do all that we can to ensure that it succeeds. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Campbell. I reside at 67 Winding Way here in Portland, and I am the Executive Director of the Portland Public Library. I'm also on the steering committee of Connect Ed, and so you'll be hearing a good dose of Connect Ed's input on this plan tonight. So it is my pleasure to briefly highlight the collaboration and alignment that exists between the Portland Public Schools and the Portland Public Library system, and to commend and express my support for the process and the priorities captured in this strategic plan that will truly build stronger student success and community vitality. The library joined with the Portland Public Schools as one of the founding members of the Connect Ed partnership, where we are collectively committed to achieving community-wide, high-quality educational success from cradle to career. In other words, this is not the school's responsibility solely to have this plan succeed. While the school and library systems have connected for decades around reading and other curriculum efforts, the Connect Ed partnership has given us a stronger connection. We've developed a deeper understanding of respective efforts. We've considered indicator data together and have pursued a well-grounded opportunity to share more data. I believe this strategic plan is positively influenced by this growing trust and partnership with Connect Ed, and is both highly principled and data-driven. In these last few years, the library and schools have strengthened our own partnership between classroom learning and library-hosted learning, specifically around school readiness and early literacy, family literacy, collections and programs for reading on grade level, and so much more. And all of these are, I see, couched in the goals in this strategic plan. Our newest effort, which is hot off the press, is an effort to provide a library card for every student and school staff member. This is now a nationwide effort that's supported by the Obama administration, and we just signed on, and so we're working out the details for that, because there's a national recognition that collaboration between the schools and the public library to make sure that kids and those that are taking care of them have access to materials for their self-learning at all times. So the library's mission is building a city of readers, and that's for all the joy, discovery, inspiration, learning, and wisdom that reading can afford. We will add our strength as a complement to the school context by providing opportunities that foster self-discovery and self-learning and cultivate the whole child, which I also am so glad to see in this plan, the whole person, and that includes the teachers and staff at Portland Public Schools in their personal and professional growth. Overall, I've been impressed by the thoughtfulness and thoroughness of the strategic planning process as expressed by Superintendent Botana and his colleagues as they presented working drafts to ConnectEd to draw both input and potential partnership. So with so many opportunities for alignment around achievement, equity, and people, the library wholeheartedly embraces our role as an educational partner to the Portland Public Schools. Through our existing partnership and through the intentions that we're building together around this plan, Portland Public Library is proud to be a strong partner as the system operationalizes these strategic goals. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Dan Coyne. I live at 1 Inspiration Drive in Scarborough. And I'm the Senior Vice President of Community Impact at United Way of Greater Portland. And there's a theme here about Portland ConnectEd. And while I don't personally sit on there, United Way of Greater Portland does have a position there with Liz Cotter-Schlack's President of CEO. So I'm here to voice strong support, like the previous speakers, about this plan, and I think on a variety of levels. And one of those is certainly at the ConnectEd level, which is, I think, a wonderful cross-sector initiative designed to improve educational outcomes for Portland's students, and I think is making wonderful progress on that, and that plan certainly aligns with that. Another piece I'd like to mention is Starting Strong, which is the 0 to 8 portion of that cradle to career continuum. And the work that's taking place, United Way of Greater Portland, through staff, provides backbone support for that to pull together the instrumental partners, which includes Portland Public Schools. And we've already begun to see great progress around issues such as attendance and pre-K to, or kindergarten to third grade literacy. The third piece I want to mention too, and spoke to you with you this summer about it, which is Thrive 2027. This journey to 3 community-wide population-level goals that provide a blueprint for cross-sector partners to come together throughout the community to improve outcomes at the population level. And Portland Public Schools has certainly signed on to that effort, and for that we're grateful. But one piece that I want to leave you with that I think is incredibly powerful about that is, as a reminder, we spoke to more than 2,100 people, either in person or on by survey, and asked about aspirations, barriers, and solutions. And the work that is set forth in this plan aligns with what those people told us were aspirations, were barriers to that, and then solutions that were necessary. And so I applaud this plan for aligning with those type of work. And so I want to leave you with that confidence to know that it reflects the input of what people would have shared about what they want to see for a stronger community. And to echo what Tony said earlier about this being based on data and so on, it's wonderful. And we pledge our support to work with you about that. We feel like we have a good relationship already and look forward to deepening that as this goes forward, and hope you'll see fit to endorse that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amanda Atkinson Lewis. My address is 18 Bancroft Street, and I'm the social worker at Riverton Elementary. I'm here to support this plan. It sounds wonderful. And I just want to talk a little bit about how the role of the school social worker can play an integral part in probably all 4 categories, but I want to talk about 2 of the categories, the whole child and equity. For whole child, school social workers wear a million different hats. And a big part of what I do during the day is helping kids process through what they walk in the door with, and that gets them more familiarized with being able to get familiar with their feelings, learn coping skills to better deal with stress so that they're in a mind space where they can access their academics in school. I also do a lot of work with friendship groups or lunch bunches, and that's a place where students can practice their social skills in a smaller setting, thus making them be able to be in the classroom setting and be in a place where they can better deal with their peers and access their education better. School social workers do a whole lot of other things that help with the whole child category, but I want to talk about the equity category as well. Portland is a very diverse city, and which is absolutely wonderful. And one diversity that I notice is that the students' levels of stress at home. We have a very wide array. So we have students whose families are not struggling with poverty, are not struggling with learning English as a second language, are not struggling with acculturation. Students whose families have a lot of social connections already in Portland. But then we have students whose families have a lot of outside stresses, such as learning English as a second language, getting acculturated to a new culture, living in poverty, generational poverty. So kids carry the stress of the family into the school building, and that, from what I've seen, does affect their ability to access their education. School social workers play a very important role in attempting to assist families, even outside of school, with the levels of stresses. And so I think of it like trickle-down lower stress levels, where if the family is less stressed, then the kid comes to school less stressed and is better able to access their education, which then improves outcomes across the board. So I just want to read a quick list of some of the things that I do. And so in theory, if Portland Public Schools increases their capacity to have more school social workers, it'll increase their capacity to do the following things, and probably a million other things as well. Outreach to hard to engage families, ability to organize events to get families connected to important outside resources and assistance that they wouldn't necessarily know how to get to on their own, helping families navigate the social service system and other resources, seeing students with social emotional struggles who are not identified with special education needs, provide therapeutic services as an RTI intervention, provide training to staff about many things, including suicide awareness, cultural competency, trauma-informed practices, social skills, etc. Strengthen school community ties, collaborate with outside providers to provide wraparound services, crisis intervention, community outreach, and there's a million other things on this list, but I will end with that. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Carter Friend. I'm the interim project director for Portland Connect Ed, and you've heard a lot about Connect Ed tonight. For those who don't know, Connect Ed is a coalition here in Portland that is supporting academic outcomes for young people, for children and youth, as we say, from cradle to career, so from birth all the way through to career. The partners include the district, USM, SMCC, the chamber, community-based organizations like United Way and the library, providers, and others. I'll say three brief things in support of the plan tonight. The first, you've actually heard a number of people speak in support of the elements of the plan, and I would just reiterate that by saying Connect Ed was very impressed with the elements around whole child, around achievement, around equity, and around people, and that those elements and the supporting metrics feel like the right set of elements and metrics to make progress against the district's vision. The second point is around the concept of partnership that's embedded in the plan. And so I have with me, which y'all haven't talked a lot about tonight, is the theory of action behind the plan. I don't know if folks have actually looked at this, But the beginning of the theory of action is if Portland Public Schools intentionally engages its community. And I think that's an incredibly important concept that's embedded in the plan for two reasons. One is I think there will be many strategies in the plan, as we heard tonight, that actually will require parents and businesses and community-based organizations to the support of those to actually implement the strategies. And ConnectEd stands ready to engage in partnership on those strategies and to bring others into partnership on those strategies. But what I think is also true about partnership is that there are many organizations in the community who have similar visions to the district around success for young people. And those organizations are already implementing strategies that complement the district strategies. Those are organizations that are making sure kids are school ready. Those are organizations that are making sure that kids in out-of-school time programs are increasing their self-esteem. Community-based programs that are addressing summer learning loss, or community-based mentorship programs that are making sure that every child has a caring adult in their lives. So the plan presents an opportunity to align the strategies, the district strategies in the plan with existing community-based strategies in support of a common vision. The third point I'd like to make actually is related to that, which is around the concept of accountability. So somebody spoke earlier about the concept of accountability and that the district and folks in the district will be held accountable for the plan and the implementation and the success of the plan, which is very true. But what is also true is I think the district is sometimes inappropriately by itself held accountable for the larger vision of student success in Portland. And as I just mentioned, there are many organizations that share that vision of success and are implementing strategies for success. I think the plan presents an opportunity to promote the concept of joint accountability, that we in the community share accountability with each other and that we are together held accountable for the success of that vision. And ConnectEd, again, stands ready to promote this concept of shared accountability and to stand with the district and hold ourselves accountable for the success of that vision. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you all for coming out tonight. It's good to see so many faces of those that are partnering with our district, and we appreciate you spending some time with us this evening to share your thoughts. And with that, I'll conclude the public comment.